All right, we're back, and we have the combination. Unexpected break last time. I didn't. I put a little clip at the beginning. The funny thing is the video, last video with the doctor's wife and everything, technically has not gone out at the time we're recording this. Oh. So, but last week we had an unexpected. Well, not really unexpected. Thanksgiving's not really unexpected, but we had a break kind of slip up. Mainly on me, I just forgot that I would have to put that in. So we're back with a Doctor Who two-parter today, which is the last two-parter for a while. So yeah, what happened last time on Doctor Who? We had the Doctor's wife.
This is one of my favorite episodes from when we did the tour way back when, 7 or 8 years ago. The TARDIS is lured into a pocket universe? I originally thought it was E-Space, but
it's kind of like a pocket universe in. It's like a little pocket of reality outside of the normal universe.
Anyway, whatever it is, the thing that it is living there has apparently killed a whole bunch of other Time Lords and eaten their TARDISes. So anyway, the people who live there are actually literally zombies that have been put together by this entity. And the soul of the TARDIS is put into a woman, although nobody realizes that until about 3/4 of the way through the episode. But this entity that is essentially the heart of the TARDIS and the Doctor managed to figure out how to reassemble at least a portion of his control panel. Meanwhile, Rory and Amy go through all sorts of torture, including Rory dying again. But ultimately, they manage to get out pretty much unscathed, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. It's the notable episode that it's the only time when we've ever been able to actually talk with the TARDIS. So yeah, a really, really great episode. And
I love the actress.
Yeah. She was very perfect for the personified TARDIS. Yeah. So, also technically last week we also had Torchwood Season 3. This will be the last time we bring it up. That also, at time of recording this, that video has not gone up. I just assumed that we were put up on the cross for that one. So, but luckily we've recovered since then. So yeah, so you can go watch that, and now we can stop talking about Torchwood, and now we can start saying, eventually, we're going to have Sarah Jane videos up. Eventually. We're not going to record that today. We'll be doing it next week. It'll be nice and convenient now that there are no more two-parters. So at a point, we'll get to that. I also hope the Torchwood video just worked out from a viewing perspective, because that is something I would like to try out a bit more, of just doing an entire season in one video. So yeah.
So how many episodes are in the Sarah Jane Adventure series?
It's I think for the first season it's technically 7, but they're normally 5 or 6.
Okay, and I've probably asked this before, but I have short-term memory problems, and not only that, I have short-term memory problems. But like Doctor Who, they've got 13 episodes. Do they put those out like one a month, or do they wait and put them all out 13 weeks in a row at the end of the season, or at the end of the year, or in the middle of the year, or beginning of the year? I don't know. This makes no sense to me.
Yeah, that was more of a... Torchwood and Sarah Jane would always air when Doctor Who wasn't airing. So yeah, and technically for Sarah Jane, the thing is they technically have half-hour episodes, but each story is 2 parts. So it's essentially the same amount that you would get out of a normal Doctor Who or Torchwood episode. It's just sort of split in half, like the classic Who episodes. So there's 6 stories per season, but that equals out to about 12 episodes in total. So
this is kind of reminding me I think they started it actually in the late 50s, but I know in the 60s and the early 70s, a lot of the networks back then had what they called anthology series, where you'd get basically a kind of new, I don't want to say episode, but a new story. But it wasn't enough to fill, back then, 26 episodes. So they would get like 4 different stories. I remember there was a TV detective story about a detective and his wife, Macmillan and his wife, or Macmillan and wife. And then there was a guy who was like a New Mexico sheriff who got moved to New York City. But they would run these, one of these episodes each week, each month, and that way they could fill out an entire season, but not with a single show. It was with 4 different shows in the anthology, and that's kind of sounds like what they're doing here.
Yeah, because Torchwood would always air first in the year, so it would be Torchwood. You would get to the end of Torchwood season 1, and Jack hears the TARDIS, so he goes off to do that. That ends, then Doctor Who would start. You go through season 3 with the 10th Doctor and Martha. And by the end of that, they end up in Cardiff, and Jack comes running in. And so you basically had to wait, a couple months to be like, what's going on? Why is Jack coming back to Doctor Who? They generally, I don't think they aired them like side by side, like the old Arrowverse shows and stuff. So yeah, which is probably for the best, because it also like kind of unties all the shows from each other, which is good nowadays, so that when someone is like, hey, I want to watch Doctor Who, do I need to watch that Torchwood spinoff? You can equivocally say, no you don't. You can, but you don't have to. So, and the Sarah Jane Adventures is kind of the same thing, although I just prefer the Sarah Jane Adventures. It's much more like Doctor Who. But yeah, so that's kind of how that used to work, which again is different from like the Arrowverse shows, where those just ran at the same time for from I don't know, September to May, and pretty much had the same breaks and everything. And so you're watching 5 shows a week that occasionally tie into each other, and that became such a problem, because it's like there is no way to ever recommend the Arrowverse, because it's just like, well, you can watch the first 2 seasons of Arrow, but then you have to watch The Flash, and then you have to watch Legends of Tomorrow, and then you have to watch Supergirl, and then you probably have to watch Batwoman too, and nobody deserves to watch Batwoman. So
yeah, it wasn't very good.
Well, and nobody deserves to watch the late seasons of most of those shows. So
yeah, my thing with the Arrowverse was, like you said, the first 2 seasons of Arrow were pretty good.
Yeah.
But then they essentially changed everything. Changed what the premise was at the beginning. The Flash kind of stayed the same, but again, they had a huge turnover in their cast, so that and we didn't see the same kind of Captain Cold and
the most consistency,
or whatever his name was.
Yeah, the most consistency with the Flash was the Flash. Like, he was always really good, but the writing of those later seasons really fell off. Like, really only those first 2, maybe 3 seasons were really good. Yeah. And then Supergirl was weird, and I know no one cares, but we're going to talk about it anyway, because why not? Supergirl was weird, because I generally liked Supergirl the whole time. There were some times where I'm just like, okay, I don't know if this plot line is working, and then Lex Luthor showed up, and it was like, okay, that kind of works. So, but it was really just that last season of Supergirl where it's just like, what are we doing? Come on, you had something here.
Yeah.
It wasn't the greatest, show that they ever made, but it was something.
Yeah.
And then Batwoman just wasn't that good from the start. I liked Batwoman herself, but like the whole story wasn't that good. And
Legends of Tomorrow.
Legends was just an acid trip, and I just give them credit for that. I was just like, you know what? They're not even trying, and so it's like, I don't have to care.
It's like, I mean, on that one, it wasn't just that the cast changed. It was like the cast would change almost on a weekly basis. And they brought in people, and you're going, wait a minute, what happened to, this person and that character? And so, yeah, I kind of, when we were watching the last year or so of all the Arrowverse shows, I was just only semi-tuned in.
Yeah, although, honestly, I really don't think there was ever really a bad season of Legends. They just were so dumb. And they just kind of knew it. Like, at a point, I feel like after the first season, they were just like, wait, nobody's really paying attention to us. The higher-ups aren't paying attention to us. They're trying to push the Flash and, make sure the Arrow is good, which half the time it wasn't and stuff. And it's like, oh, we're just the other show in the Arrowverse. Like, oh, cool, we can do whatever we want. So, they bring in Biff from Back to the Future, and he has like the alien time travel monster theme park, and it's just like, that sounds amazing. That sounds great. Let's do more of that. So,
and the giant Bebo.
The giant Bebo. They had an episode where Gorilla Grodd tried to kill a young Barack Obama. It was hilarious. It's just like that show. It was just great to just sort of shut your brain off and just be like, okay, cool. I get to watch dumb comic book stuff. So,
but let's watch Doctor Who.
Yeah. So,
because although it does get a little weak in spots here and there, it's been pretty consistently good.
Yeah,
I've enjoyed
honestly,
the new Who.
There's very few times where I'm just like, this is not good. There'll be like the occasional like one-off episode where I'm just like, that was not a good episode, but that was just a one-off episode, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And they're like, and for the most part, like, I find that every era, like every Doctor era in New Who is like, no, there's a lot of good here. There's more good than there is bad.
Yeah.
Which getting into the latest Doctors, that's very important to keep in mind on some of them. So anywho, let's get into this two-parter.
The Rebel Flesh.
But the acid potency stats have definitely dropped below the mean during the last quarter.
Better than a computer, isn't
I feel like there's a better way of putting in a bolt than...
I miss my boy's birthday, filling out forms, I'll kill you again.
Okay.
Lights.
I'm gonna be honest, this is like the most British way of dying in acid.
This body costs money, Lord.
Not as much as that acid suit.
All right, no, it's not like anyone's
You got better.
Okay. Alright, so we know that Matt Smith and Karen Gillan have gone on to other things. House of the Dragon and the Marvel Universe. Has Arthur Darvill done anything that we know of?
He was in Legends of Tomorrow as Rip Hunter, actually. What fortuitous timing of that question.
Who wants fish and chips? I'll drop you both off. Take your time. Don't rush. And you?
Should have gone for the fish and chips.
They're shooting the position.
Brace.
And underneath, a monastery, 13th century.
Oh, we've gone all medieval.
I'm not sure about that.
Really? Medieval expert, are you?
No, it's just that I can hear Dusty Springfield.
Although, he is a medieval expert. He lived through it.
And I lived through Dusty Springfield.
So there are people coming. Well, almost.
Almost coming.
Almost people.
I think we should probably go. I'm telling you, when something runs towards you, it's never for a nice reason.
I see they were also crucified after Tortured Season 3.
All right, Weatherman, your ID checks out. If there's another solar storm, what you going to do about it? Hand out sunblock?
I need to see your critical systems.
Which one?
You know which one.
Good job.
The evasive answer to the evasive answer.
Yeah.
It's weird, but you get used to it.
Jennifer, I want you in your ganger. Get back to the harness.
Hang on.
You could have called them doppels.
What are you up to?
I feel like that sounds better.
Okay, that's just creepy.
Oh.
Well, I can see why you keep it in church.
Eh.
Miracle of life.
No need to get poncy. Just gunge.
Guys, we need to get to work.
Please, you are making a massive mistake here. You're right at the crossroads of it. Don't turn the wrong way. If you don't prepare for this storm, you are all in terrible danger. Understand?
My factory. My rules.
So make better rules.
Check progress of the storm.
Oh no. Here's a question. Who needs this acid back home?
It's not so much the acid as the workers. Endless supply of workers.
Well, that's the thing. The workers are only there to get the acid back to the mainland, so...
The fourth Doctor fell like that and regenerated.
It hurt so much.
Hey, it's okay, it's over.
I couldn't get out of my harness. I thought I was going to die.
Welcome to my world.
That's my record. Who's playing my record? Your gangers. They've gone walkabout.
No, it's impossible.
The doctor's always saying don't wander off. First rule with him, actually, don't wander off.
And you've just wandered off,
Just
Rory.
need a minute.
Yeah.
I've got you back. You're fine.
I was a Roman. They can do anything. I don't know why I thought it was like, what if when they vomit, they just throw up an adipose, just waving back at you.
Everything okay in there, Jen?
Oh.
Just let us live.
Elastigirl.
It's probably fine.
Transmatter's still a little rubbery. Nerve ending's not quite fused properly.
What are you talking about?
It's okay.
Yeah.
Why didn't I feel that?
You will.
Rory?
Oh, Rory. Rory! Always with the Rory!
How did you not go back to the waiting room?
Nice eyes. Kind.
She has Jodie Whittaker's accent.
Where's
I
the
think.
real Jennifer? Trust.
Yeah.
Oops.
What are you doing down there?
Wait.
You need a good pair of Wellingtons too, Doctor.
Oh.
Oops.
Oh.
Stan Ganger's got to the acid suits.
You used my name, thank you. Amy's a lucky girl.
Yeah, she is. Let's go.
Anywho.
You're in a creepy castle with a locked door. What you don't do is open it.
Yes, there's a guy there.
She needs protecting. Jen?
No, it's a gunner. Rory, listen.
No, you listen. Nobody touches her!
So we still don't know where the real Jennifer is.
Oh, yeah. They prefer the term original.
Now, I know it's hard for you to hold your fully human form. That's why you keep shifting between the flesh stages, but do try. It'll make the others less scared of you.
And don't do that.
Jen.
That's it, Doctor. Befriend them. Team up with them, why don't you? Make a football team, how about that?
That sounds lovely.
You need 11 for that.
We have us all together singing campfire songs.
Why not?
Well, we're all jelly once. Little jelly eggs singing goop.
Yes.
Thanks, too much information.
Okay, thanks.
This circus has gone long enough! Oh, great. You see, that is just so typically me. Doctor.
Rory's a hero.
Look at what you've done. Cleave
If it's war, then it's war. You don't get it, Doctor. How can you? It's us.
You're just a
and
bunch of
them.
Hesed miners. Why is it going to be a war?
It's frightening, unexpected, frankly a total utter splattering mess on the carpet, but I am certain, 100% certain that we can work this out.
Ugh.
Trust me.
I'm the doctor.
I'm the doctor.
Oh, boy. That made him look even goofier. You know, I'm trying to imagine myself in this scenario. Where there's another one of me.
Hoy me.
I could get so much more work done. Like, I would have double the amount of videos on this channel if one of me edits and the other one films. And because you might be thinking, well, wouldn't the other one want to film the reactions? No, because then he gets to watch the reactions and just be a normal person. So.
Now, as it turns out, I had a cousin born the same day, the same year, the same hour, other than I was in the Eastern time zone and she was in the Central time zone. But we were not identical cousins, but we grew up completely differently because she stayed in the United States her entire life, lived in Texas and Louisiana, then in Oklahoma, whereas I started in the United States, lived in France for 3 years, went back to the States, lived in Alabama for 4 years, went to England, lived for 3 years, went to Nebraska, lived for 3 years, went to Arizona, went to Texas, went back to Arizona, came to Oklahoma, went back to Arizona, came to Oklahoma. So I had a much more diverse background, shall we say.
Oh, yeah.
That is the thing. Even though these people are essentially created the same out of the goo, whatever it was called.
The flesh.
The flesh. The rebel flesh. Oh, yes, that's the title.
Oh, yeah.
And although up to the point they are created, they have the same background, the same... But from that point on, everything has diverged. So that's going to me seems to be the major point of the next episode is that they don't have 100% exact memories because they're not telepathic or anything, and what they have learned since their creation does not match what the creators had in mind. So very interesting. I mean, it's a complete twist on, the doppelganger, create a clone, because we know today with technology you can get a physical clone with cows and sheep and goats and dogs and things like that. Even the new dire wolves I've heard.
Oh my god. Yeah.
But although they are physically the same, they are not the same personality because they do not. I mean, this has always been the thing about clones. They do not have, although they may have memories here, they don't have the exact lived experience as the person they are created from.
Oh, yeah. So, as just two little offhanded things, just because you reminded me, the direwolf thing. So, you've heard of that.
Yes.
You know what they named those 3 direwolves? 2 of them, they named Romulus and Remus, I'm pretty sure. Which, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that works out. The third one, they wanted to name it after something from Game of Thrones. Because in Game of Thrones, the sigil of House Stark is the direwolf. So they named the third one Khaleesi, which has nothing to do with the House of Stark or the direwolves. It's the title that Daenerys gets, and she's of the Dragon House. And she got that overseas by it's like a name for queen in a sort of warlike peoples. But the fact that they named that direwolf that made everyone mad, because if you watch Game of Thrones for more than 5 minutes, you know that that's so wrong. It would be like I don't know. It would be like if instead of they had a ganger of Matt Smith there, it was Daniel Craig. Because it's like, well, he they get a new actor for James Bond and stuff. It's like, well, no, it's supposed to be the Doctor, you moron. So, anyway, so there's that. Second, you know Tom Brady cloned his dog?
Yes.
That was one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. Because apparently he's a huge investor in this company with this cloning technology. And he didn't want to let go of his dog that died a few years back. So they had his dog cloned. And then they named it something else. And then because I heard this whole story and it's like, okay, but this dog, you don't clone the memories. Like, we're not that advanced. So it's like, it's just a new dog that you named it something different than the dog that you couldn't let go of. And it is a different dog. And I just thought, at that point, you could just get a new dog. And because even if you want something relatively close, you're Tom Brady. You have the money to just buy a new dog. Or go down to the shelter. $25 gets you a dog.
That's my family, your grandmother and grandfather, and then us. We've always been the kind of people that when we want a dog, we wait and get a shelter dog. All right? We found our Missy way back when you were young. She was at the pound. And she was with us for like 7 or 8 years. But she had a chronic illness and ultimately passed from that. And it was another 5 years or so, but one night we saw in the newspaper that they had another beagle at the rescue. And so we went out there, and fortunately there were some folks already looking at the beagle, but they were a young couple with 3 children, all probably under the age of 6. And they apparently were there, and your mother and I were watching, and they said, well, we need to think about this. And so they, I guess, went off to dinner or something, and we thought, that beagle, as any beagle would literally just destroy those children, because beagles are so active when they're young. Yeah. So as soon as they left, we went in and said, we want that beagle. And so we got the beagle. Yeah. And here we are almost, 9 years later?
Yeah.
8 years later, yeah.
He has featured in a number of videos on here, actually. They're, funny enough, a Game of Thrones reaction. I was in here recording. I had my bed down where he could sleep on it. And in the episode I was watching, there was like a baby crying, and it woke him up. And he jumped up, like his front paws onto the table, and like was looking around. I was like, it's okay. It's just a baby. So, and there's a couple other videos. They're older videos now. And then occasionally, if you go to my Instagram, like one of the 4 or 5 posts I do a year on Instagram is generally just a picture of him. So, but you're right. That like most beagles are high maintenance. I feel like him in particular is also very high maintenance. I mean, I have like I guess they're not permanent, but I have had the scars of playing with him. Yes, and it's just like he would have been back there in a week.
Championship beagle wrestling
is ridiculous.
Now, part of the story is too. Of course, he was found and taken to the pound, and nobody came to claim him. And the pound, I guess, might have had him. The rescue had him for maybe a week or so. They named him Scoundrel. Yeah, which was a perfect name for him. We decided not to keep that name. Yeah, we call him Darby.
And after about a week, we understood why they called him Scoundrel. He's mellowed out in his old age, though not for lack of trying, because he still thinks he's a young dog. Yes. But if he's really, really bored and really just has nothing to do, and there is a sock somewhere, he will take it. So, and then nowadays, he loves to run. He wants to get all that energy out. But so many times he will start running and then he will hurt himself because he's getting old. Yeah. So,
yes, our beagle has had 2 knee surgeries.
Yeah, he blew out 2 of his knees at the exact same time, essentially, and had to get back-to-back knee surgeries. So, anyway, the moral of the story is, don't clone your dog, Tom Brady. Just go get a new friggin' dog. There's plenty of them in the world. So, the second moral of the story is, this actual story is, I don't know. I don't think I would immediately just go to it. Like, if there was suddenly an exact copy of me, I don't think I would just immediately go to, it's a monster, we need to kill it and stuff like that. I'd just be like, okay, cool. Like, we gotta figure this out, you know? So, I mean, because there's the thing of, like, well, you know, should, like, you know, if they go back to their lives, like, you know, the one guy who was a father, and it's like, you know, he wants to go back to his son's birthday. Well, obviously the flesh version does too. He wants to go back to his son's birthday. So it becomes a thing of, like, how do you now integrate an identical copy of yourself into your own life? Because I was thinking, like, well, maybe you could take them somewhere else. Like, but what right do you have to be like, well, you have to go live somewhere else because you're not the real one, when they feel like the real one?
Star Trek Next Generation did a story like that, if you remember. I can't remember if it usually is a transporter accident, but Riker split into two different people. And Will Riker stayed with the Enterprise, but the other one decided to, because he wasn't married or anything, he decided to go off and have his own career in Starfleet.
Yeah, so this definitely seems like a Star Trek episode, like this very ethical dilemma, you know? And yeah, it is, because I don't know, it's like, I almost feel like a flesh version of me would be like, well, if I can't stay here, you know, we can't, you know, both live the same life. It's like, well, maybe I'll just go off, you know, go traveling or something. But then I would sit here and think, I'm going to do that too. Wait a minute. So then it becomes a problem of, like, well, then which one goes and does stuff? Which one goes and travels the world, and which one stays and watches TV in their room? I don't know. Because either way, I'd be like, well, I would love to be the one to go out into the world and also see on YouTube, oh, hey, a new reaction video to Doctor Who. I get to watch myself. Isn't that amazing? And just be like, yep, that's exactly how I would have reacted to that. So.
Now, we also have the 10th Doctor split into two Doctors.
Yeah. That one, looking back on it, that very cleanly wrapped up into, well, this one, he's not quite, you know, he's not exactly a Time Lord, he's more human, he can't regenerate, so it's like, well, he can go stay with Rose. So, funny enough, now that you mention that, there will be another time that this sort of thing crops up in Doctor Who, and it's just like, huh, what an interesting thing that this keeps happening, essentially. So, should we get to the next one?
Yeah.
I gotta go put the next DVD into it, so you can give me a sec. Oh.
I thought it was interesting that the leader of the factory was Cleves. I was wondering if there was some kind of reference there to the fourth wife of King Henry VIII, but then called her Miranda instead of Anna. Miranda, of course, being a character in The Tempest by William Shakespeare, who essentially, you know, loves the brave new world with such creatures in it. Another weird footnote here. And I'm sure most parents do this. We decided not to know what you or your brother were going to be before you were born, so we had both a male and female name ready for both of you. Your brother Jordan would have been Miranda. Did we ever tell you what your name was going to be if you were a girl?
I don't know.
You were going to be Abigail.
So just imagine me without the beard and the hair's longer, and presumably a better hairline than this, and there you go. It all works out. Alrighty.
Alright, the Almost People.
You almost feel like they should have flipped those two names.
One day we will get back. Yes. One day.
That sounds familiar.
Reverse the polarity of the neutron.
Reverse the polarity.
Without past regenerations, hold on.
Would you like a jelly, baby?
Hello. I'm the doctor.
No, let it go. We've moved on.
Hold on. Hold on. You can stay with us. Reverse the jelly baby of the neutron flow. And would you like doctor?
There's too many years to deal with.
I'm glad we're on the same wavelength. See, great minds. Exactly. So, What's the plan? Save them all, humans and gangers. Tall order, sounds wonderful. Is that what you were thinking? Yes, it's just so inspiring to hear me say it.
Doctor, come on!
So, what now, Doctor? Well, time to get cracking, Doctor. Hello! Sorry, but we had to establish a few ground rules, formulate a protocol. Piping must go down into a tunnel or a shaft or something. Yes? With us? Yowza! An escape route. You know, I'm starting to get a sense of just how impressive it is to hang out with me. Do we tend to say yowza? That's enough, let it go. Okay? We're under stress.
Great. He's also his biggest critic.
So is this a real island, do you think? Or is it CGI?
I don't know. Some of the shots have been kind of off, but I thought that was just because of the storm.
I heard in India there's over 10 million gangers.
We can reach out. Inspire them to rise up.
Revolution.
No offense, did India need more people?
I just
Needed workers.
want to be left to live in.
Almost the Doctor is pretty damn impressive.
Being almost a doctor's like being no doctor at all.
Don't overreact.
You might as well call me Smith.
Smith.
Not Smith.
You'll need to airlift us off the roof of the evac tower. And Captain, any further transmission sent by me must come with the following code word. I'm typing it in case they're listening in.
Oof. See how smart I am? That's why I'm paid the big bucks.
Can you die? If you really are the same, then you can die. You can be killed, and I might have seen that happen.
Why?
Why? Because you invited us to see it. You're dead.
What?
You're hurting me.
It's all the I say. What? I can feel them as they work each day, knowing the time was coming for them to be thrown away again. Not again, please.
I'm sorry, she found me. Rory, listen to me. Don't listen to her. I'm Jennifer Lucas. This woman is flesh.
The lady or the tiger?
We're right above you, but give me the code word.
Shuttle, the code word is bad boy. I repeat, bad boy.
Copy that.
So you gotta think of something random. But then what are the chances that the ganger also thinks of the exact same random thing?
The eyes have it.
Yeah.
Why are they here?
To accuse us.
The walls have eyes.
I should have been a postman like my dad.
This is how they'll always treat us. You see now? After all, you're one of us. Doctor.
Call me Smith. John Smith.
Call me Professor.
You'll never hold up. If you have a better plan, I'm all ears. In fact, if you have a better plan, I'll take you to a planet where everyone is all ears.
Daddy? Daddy, what's that rumbly noise? What's going on, Daddy? Daddy?
You tricked him into an act of weakness, Doctor.
No, I've helped him into an act of humanity. Anyone else like the sound of that act of humanity?
He's still Jimmy.
Drain.
Hang in there, mate. I'm quite handsome from this angle. Jimmy Wiggs. You're a dad.
Mazel tov. Yeah.
Oh, stuff of nightmares indeed.
Perfect.
Maybe we swap shoes. I'm the doctor, and I'm the flesh.
You can't be. You're the real him.
No, I'm not, and haven't been all along.
I never thought it possible.
What?
Twice the man I thought you were.
Your molecular memory can survive this, you know. It may not be the end. Yeah, well, if I turn up to nickle your biscuits, then you'll know you're right, won't you? Geronimo.
Oh. All gone.
The energy from the TARDIS will stabilize the gangs for good. They're people now.
Oh, thank goodness.
And what happens to me? I still have this.
That's not a problem. I have something for that. It's small and red and tastes like burnt onions. Ha! But it'll get rid of your blood clot.
Oh, jeez. Don't drop it.
I needed to see the flesh in its early days. That's why I scanned it. That's why we were there in the first place. I was going to drop you off for fish and chips first, but things happened and there was stuff and shenanigans. Beautiful word. Shenanigans.
That's every episode.
Are you okay? I'm right here. No, you're not. You haven't been here for a long, long time.
Oh no.
Here it comes.
Ugh. Oh. Next time. She's been fleshed this whole season.
How is that possible?
The whole season.
Well, we have seen the mysterious lady with the one eye.
Yep, that's been cropping up since the Impossible Astronaut episodes. So yeah, Amy's not real. I mean, she is. She just hasn't been there all season. She's somewhere, and she's having a baby. So it's a miraculous time in someone's life when they just wake up suddenly. They're 9 months pregnant and about to push a baby out. That's terrifying. There's a creepy lady with an eye patch told you to push.
And apparently somewhere either in a very modern, bizarre facility or probably sometime in the future.
Yep. So, someone who has access to the flesh technology and was able to make a very convincing version of Amy. So yeah, it's an interesting cap to the episode. and yeah, we're going next episode. We're going into we've got plot next episode. So, but yeah, there's also, I mean, this explains why every episode this season, when the Doctor has scanned Amy, the TARDIS can't get a lock on if she's pregnant or not, because she is pregnant, but the flesh was not pregnant. So it's tricky. It's tricky. So
now, once again, you and I have been following this pretty much week to week. I don't know if I would have remembered all of that just by watching it on TV. I mean, what number episode was this for the season?
This is episode 6. So basically, every episode except episode 4. Episode 4 doesn't have any hints towards that. The woman and the opening the walls and stuff. But every other episode this season has had a moment like that where she opens it, says, no, not quite ready, or she's dreaming or something, closes it. And so they do it twice in this story, one in the last episode and then one in this episode to really get at that. And it's interesting because for a second I thought, I wonder if he's going to catch it, because of how the Doctor, is talking to her, and it's like, why are we here? Like they kind of hide very well that it's like the Doctor came here with a purpose, with a mission, with a goal to figure out how the flesh works. but that's all very, very subtle, and you can kind of miss it. And when they confront him about it, it's like, well, why are you here? And he just kind of stares at Amy, but then that's kind of it until the ending there. So it's interesting, and it caught me off guard. I didn't realize that Amy was flesh, and obviously before these episodes, you wouldn't really have any inkling that this isn't the real Amy. Yeah. So
you're saying that she was switched somewhere back in Impossible Astronaut, sort of that sequence that wasn't at the opening?
Yeah. So somewhere in there, at least between the Christmas special and the beginning of the first episode of this season, at some point Amy is switched with a flesh version, and she's none the wiser, because what she sees is she sees and experiences things through the flesh. So it because it specifically wasn't a separated version of her like the gangers that we see here. So yeah, it's interesting, and it's also interesting once you think about that, and then you start to realize how the Doctor has been studying the flesh the entire episode. So he had the moment where he kind of scanned it and it scanned him, thus creating the Ganger Doctor. But then just seeing, once you realize at the end that they had, switched shoes so that no one knows who the real one is. So that entire time where it's like, oh, well, you're just the flesh, you're not the real Doctor and everything. Even when he was knocked out and the other gangers came in and was like, wow, you're one of us. And it's like, nope, that was all the original Doctor. And he swapped it. So there is a part of me that wonders, because he found the specific frequency to melt the flesh with the sonic screwdriver. Technically, the shoes he was wearing were the shoes of the Ganger Doctor. So when Amy melted, did his shoes also melt off? In theory, because that's the thing, is they replicate everything about the person, even down to their clothes. So
now, the Doctor who was the flesh, had the real Doctor's sonic screwdriver, or did that also replicate? Because the real Doctor had his sonic screwdriver there.
There were 2 times where they passed it back and forth, so maybe that's something that the flesh couldn't replicate. Maybe they can't replicate metal per se, because there was also Jimmy, he gave the ring that he had to his Ganger at the end when he died, so maybe they just can't replicate metal specifically. So yeah, I mean, I guess it's just a thing of the Doctor can always get a new sonic screwdriver. So either it was a flesh version that he gave to the Ganger Doctor at the end, and so it melted with the rest of them, or he gave him his sonic, which is just left there, which that whole place is going to explode in acid, so it would destroy the sonic, and then he went into the TARDIS, which promptly gave him a new screwdriver.
Okay.
So, because we've had that before, like in Martha's first episode, the Doctor lost his sonic screwdriver, and then he just went into, finally at the end of the episode, he just went and got a new one. So, yeah, it's an interesting point, and a very traumatizing end to the episode, especially too because that was a 2-parter, and it's just like, all right, now tune in next time and the story will continue. So this is one of the most ambitious seasons that they have, just with this ongoing story.
All right, so the Flesh Doctor knew about the one-eyed woman, but because he said push when she tells you to.
Yeah, he suspected a lot about it. Essentially, as this episode starts, he already knows that Amy is a flesh version, but he doesn't know how it works, and he doesn't know how to block the signal that they're basically sending to this version of Amy from her original body. So that's why he had to come here and learn all about it. And, as he said, he was, fully willing to just drop them off for fish and chips, then he would go back and deal with all of this. But it just didn't work out like that. So yeah, but he knew most likely she was pregnant, and he knew that she was flesh. So he knows that Amy is somewhere out there. He just had to learn the mechanics of how the flesh works. So it's interesting. And now, also because of the switch between the two of them for a while, now the Doctor knows about his death at the beginning of the season, because Amy told him, thinking that it was the flesh version. So now he has that on his mind to grapple with. So,
and he set up the call to the guy's kid because he did something earlier.
Yes.
Said, "I'm going to make a phone call."
Yeah, he did. Because he said, "I'm going to make a delayed phone call," and Amy asked, "Why? Why are you making a phone call right now?" So that was the thing, to basically convince, bring the humanity back to the flesh. Because that's the thing, is like, they are very human. And I like how, even with Cleves, it's like, who kind of started all of this, being like, wow, they're monsters, we gotta kill them and stuff. But at the end, she's just like, I can't do this. I can't go to war with everyone. Both of them, at that point, were just like, we can't keep going with this. So it's interesting. It's really only Jennifer had that resolve in her to fight against the humans.
Now, who is the actress who played Jennifer?
Let's see.
Sarah Smart. I thought for a minute she was in an American TV series, but that's not the same actress.
But it is interesting because they don't really go into why Jennifer is so different, especially too because she made another version of herself. There were two Ganger Jennifers running around while the original Jennifer was, passed out on the brink of death, basically. But they also make a point that she remembers every time one of her Gangers has died, specifically, but none of the others have that. So I don't know. They just never go into why Jennifer is so different. But I guess that also extends to the fact that she has extra powers that the others don't seem to have, including turning into a disgusting, terrifying CG monster. So I will say it looked a little bit better, but it did remind me of the Lazarus episode, yeah, when he turned into that giant scorpion man thing, and it looked better than that, but it still was kind of weird. So and I was gonna say, it's it's a shame because, like, if she hadn't done that, if she had gotten into the TARDIS, then the Doctor said the TARDIS makes the flesh human. Like, they're just completely human now, and presumably they can't even melt or anything. But it's interesting because then immediately he melts Amy. Yeah. So it's just like, I guess because she was not a completely separate entity, because she was still, I guess just an older version of the flesh that has to have the original source with that signal. So I don't know, or he made that up, or he made it up to them. I like, for a split second at the end, I was like, oh yeah, why don't you stay away from microwaves? Just like you gotta be careful around some of these sounds. You might melt. So I don't know. But yeah, that was the Rebel Flesh 2-parter. I mean, I guess just overall, what did you think of it?
Again, interesting. It's very complicated.
Yeah.
I kept wondering if there had been a switch with the Doctors, but I couldn't really tell. So yeah, obviously they worked that to the way that they wanted the audience to feel about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, I mean, the fact that this is now connected to something 6-7 episodes ago. That's it's a little much. After this season, the ambitions start dying down a bit. I mean, there will be overarching storylines and stuff like that, but this one is the most interconnected season of Doctor Who.
for better or for worse. And some people will tell you it's for better, some people will tell you it's for worse. It's a bit of a divisive season because of that. I generally enjoy the whole thing, but it is a lot,
Yeah. And one last little thing to wrap up what I was saying here. We're remembering this because as we start each new episode here, we kind of recount what happened in the last one. So you and I having this great discussion. Is the average audience of Doctor Who back in 2011, after the episode is over, sitting around going with their mates going, "Hey, let's go have a pint and discuss what's happening on Doctor Who"?
Yeah.
Because, again, if you and I weren't doing this, I don't know that I would have followed all of that.
Yeah. I mean, it's... and it's funny because at the beginning of this episode, we were talking about the Arrowverse. It's funny you bring that up because I remember there was some later season of Arrow where they brought in a character called Anarchy, and you don't remember this character. That's fine, but he appeared like at the beginning of one of the Arrow seasons, and then like later that season, 10, 12 episodes later, he showed up again. But that was like 4 or 5 months later as it was airing, and I remember you and everyone else was just like, wait, who is this guy? I don't remember. And I was like, he's Anarchy. He was in the first episode of the season. You were like, who? And then I kid you not, he showed up a third time, and I still don't think you remembered him. Which, granted, he was not a good character, but it's just like, and I think about that sometimes because like. Don't get me wrong. There are people out there that, once the episode ends, they're onto, Facebook and chat rooms and Twitter, and they're discussing all of this. But you're right. For the average person, I don't think they do keep up with it. Yeah. And that's not a point against, like, oh, well, the casual watcher, they're not smart enough to enjoy it. It's like, no, they just don't. They don't get into it as much. And I also find that to be the reaction effect that I have gotten into shows before where I'm like, oh yeah, like I think Stranger Things is the best example, because I watched the first 2 seasons of Stranger Things and I really enjoyed it and I got into it. I did the reactions and everything, and then I showed you guys Stranger Things and you were like, yeah, it's fine, and I was kind of baffled by that. I was like, really, is that it? And I will say, and this one hurts me more than Stranger Things. But because we've referenced it 1,000 times, is, I did a reaction series to Vinland Saga. And recently, I have showed you Vinland Saga. And it has killed my soul watching you watch Vinland Saga. It is almost the death of me. Even though you don't hate it. You don't even dislike it. It's just... It's just like a stake through my heart every time we do it.
Well, again... having taught world history and knowing about what actually happened with Leif Erikson and the Vinland colony and the real Thorfinn Karlsefni and the Hivner runestone and all of that, then to watch that I went, wait a minute, why are they not in? I thought this was called the Vinland Saga, and they're not in Vinland. They're in England, they're in Sweden.
That's a fair point.
Denmark. Yeah. It's like we're now 2 to 4 episodes into the second season. We're still not in Vinland.
No.
And it's like, what? Then why call it the Vinland Saga?
Because it...
Unless, of course, literally on the last episode, they're going to be, oh, here we are in Vinland, let's make the most of it. And like,
they do get... They are going to get to Vinland eventually, but it takes a while. It's... I keep saying it's about the life of Thorfinn. So, and, how he, going through the Denmark-England War, and then... spoiler alert, in season 2 going through enslavement and everything, so it will get there, but still, but like, look, because if any of you out there have watched my reactions to Vinland Saga, you would think that it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, or before. It is absolutely one of my favorite shows of all time, one of my favorite stories of all time. So to sit week after week with that, it's just a knife that gets twisted. You've twisted it. You've made like laps around my heart like 4 or 5 times now, and it's driving me crazy.
Well, it is better than most anime that I've seen, But yeah, I was expecting a completely different storyline.
Yeah.
Because, again, I know of the real Vinland story and why they went there and why they didn't stay and why nobody had ever heard of it. And then to see this, it's like, okay. And again, knowing a little bit about the real Thorfinn, it's just like, this is not the story that I know. So.
Anyway, all that to say, this is a very complicated season of Doctor Who.
Yes.
So, but yeah, and it just gets worse from here. It gets more complicated, like 10 million times over from here. So, especially like the next 2 episodes are a roller coaster of even just writing quality. It's going to be all over the place, and they're excited. They're more excited about what's coming than what we just did. I don't know, like, I don't really hear many people talk about the Rebel Flesh 2-parter. No, I don't think people dislike it or anything, but nobody really talks about it because the next 2 episodes are some of the most memorable, for different reasons, episodes of Doctor Who. So, I mean, the big thing, honestly, from this is the reveal that Amy is not Amy at the end of this, so...
By the way, one last little footnote there. I loved when the Flesh Doctor started quoting in the voices of earlier doctors.
Yeah.
That would have been nicer, though, if we could have seen not just, Tom Baker and I don't remember who the other one was.
It was Tennant.
Tennant, yeah.
He quoted the first and third Doctors, but then he used the voice of the fourth and 10th Doctors. So, although I do like... you hear Tennant's voice saying, "Hello, I'm the Doctor," and then he just sort of gets control of himself. He's like, no more of that. We moved on. And it's just like, I think that's a subtle dig at the people who still, by this point, a season and a half into this Doctor's era, we're still saying, bring back David Tennant. So, that never goes away. It will never go away again. He is a ghost, which is a shame because... A, he's a great actor. He was great as the Doctor. And B, he's a huge Doctor Who fan. But David Tennant is a very weird ghost that's going to linger over the entirety of modern Doctor Who. We can't get rid of him. And we try. We really try. So, but...
Anyway.
You got anything else?
I got nothing.
Then that is basically it. Next time, we're back to single episodes next time, and yeah, we are in for a roller coaster of episodes, and then we'll take a Christmas break in the middle of all that. So, but that is basically it. With all of that being said, we're Alex and Dad from Scimitar Films, and we will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist with all of our modern Doctor Who reactions, as well as another playlist for every Doctor Who video that's on the channel. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.